Welcome, everybody, to the That Kind of Nerd podcast. I am CJ Mellon.
I am Brian Thornton.
And I am Josh Burns.
Welcome to our show. Today's episode of the That Kind of Nerd podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Audible.com has over 180,000 audiobooks for you to choose from that work on iPhone, Android, or even just a plain old MP3 player. This week, Brian has his recommendation of book for you.
Yes, this week's recommendation on Audible is You're Never Weird on the Internet, Almost, by Felicia Day. Also narrated by Felicia Day with a foreword narrated by Joss Whedon. This is the story of everybody's favorite gamer girl, the queen of the nerds on the internet, and her rise to fame, starting as being a quirky little homeschooled southerner to the internet famous guild leader that she is today. So anybody who's a huge fan of nerdism and a huge fan of Felicia Days in general, I highly recommend we check this out. So you can absolutely download this by going to www.audibletrial.com/thatkindofnerd. That's www.audibletrial.com/thatkindofnerd. And not only will you get a free 30-day trial, but you can get a free book and download our pick of the week. You're Never Weird on the Internet, Almost.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
No problem,
Okay.
CJ.
So let's get to our first topic, because I want to get it right off the bat. And it's that there's some different information, some new information on the Star Wars saga, and in more particular, the Star Wars expanded universe.
Dun. Sorry.
So let's start off with the thing that, let's just get this out of the way. They released a whole 8 extra seconds of extra footage the Force.
It's 8 extra seconds.
It's just basically confirming stuff that we already knew. That
now I know everything. I'm sorry. I'm going to be really smart ass about this.
I know you were. I just listen. There's 8 extra seconds. Just shows another lightsaber. It's just pretty much about it. It shows that you have a good character coming down.
Hang on, because I didn't see the footage. Let me guess. Is it blue?
Yeah, it's blue. It's blue.
Okay. It was either blue or green or red. Because only one person can have purple.
My favorite meme is the Obi-Wan giving Luke the lightsaber. He goes, "Oh, that was your father. He murdered hundreds of children with it." I thought that was hilarious.
Terrible.
Anyway,
had to bring it up. There's a little extra footage. It's
proceed,
not anything
CJ.
crazy.
What did we learn? Like, what new information have we learned?
What was what's the character's name? I don't know.
John Rutabaga.
Right.
John Boyega.
Thank you. I'm terrible with names. We get the impression that he's a Jedi. He's a good Jedi.
The guy who is in the Stormtrooper outfit at the beginning of the trailer, who's like breathing all asthmatically, and in the desert, he has a lightsaber.
Yeah, and we've seen the scope of the Empire's forces, essentially, too. There's also some amazing... So this is actually really cool. The Star Wars Facebook page released
It's not really cool. It's just kind of funny.
Well, no, the armor's cool. It released Captain... is it Captain...
Phasma?
Phasma?
Phasma. You're right, it's Phasma.
Which is the actress from Game of Thrones, who played Brienne of Tarth. They have her in her armor, and what's funny is that the internet some of the internet went
just
on the official Facebook
on the internet.
Yeah, put out a post like, I don't know, we have a girl in some armor that doesn't look very feminine. And the best part is the official Star Wars Facebook page goes, "It's armor. It's not supposed to look feminine." And just like shut this guy down, which I thought was hilariously funny. And it was just the fact that it's not sexism that armor doesn't have to look feminine. It's the fact that it's, freaking armor. And the fact that
it's meant to protect you from being injured.
Right.
Because when you're fighting, other stormtroopers and they miss you.
And it's so funny that people are just like, I don't mean to sound, sexist or anything, but, how come it's not feminine armor? And just the fact that Disney's official Star Wars Facebook page would just tell a fan, what the hell are you thinking?
As we get closer, there's more and more Star Wars information and propaganda that's hitting the internet. And that I read a couple things this week. Probably both of these on Imager. The first was a few notes on how the stormtroopers weren't at all bad shots, right? They deliberately missed to carry out Darth Vader's scheme, right? And that it was a pretty cool theory. Obviously they Obi-Wan remarked about the fantastic marksmanship of stormtroopers, and they're taking people out pretty much at will when they want. But all of a sudden you get on board the Death Star and they can't hit anything, right? Because that's where they want you. So they, you know what I mean? So
can that
fire?
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Their fire is just pinning you into the direction they want you to go, and that's all it is. It's a cool theory. The second thing that I saw on Imager was a pretty comprehensive list about the history of the Sith Lords back before the Rule of Two, and it was again pretty comprehensive. There's a lot of cool information in there about the development, the evolution of the Sith, and I'd recommend you give it a look if you're interested in that sort of thing. Obviously, all we really get is the story of the Jedi. You don't ever really get into the Sith unless you start reading the expanded universe, and I think that the story of the Sith is way more interesting than the Jedi story.
I found that so hard to believe, Josh.
Look, and again, it's not about good versus evil. It's about balance, right?
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. Well, I mean, and I think the reason we're talking about this is because Disney just did their D23 Expo about a week ago, and this is the first time where they just were able to do a lot more than just, hey, here's a whole bunch of animated stuff that we're doing, because now they have Marvel. And now they have Star Wars. So they showed a whole bunch of Marvel stuff, Captain America Civil War stuff. And they showed a lot of Star Wars stuff. They talked about their plans for the oncoming years. They're going to be releasing a Star Wars movie every year. Either an offshoot, a
Which
prequel,
is awesome.
A part of the canon, whatever. So
for the next 20 years? Or what?
I don't remember the exact timeline of how many years they have planned out.
2019. Right now they have it planned out.
Till 2019. But so the next one...
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Are you going to do
so you're talking about they're doing one at Christmas, right? So that'd be
including
5
this
movies.
one at Christmas. They'll
That's
be
5
doing
movies.
Yeah. And then the next one next year you're going to see Star Wars Rogue One. Which they released, they showed the cast, they released a pretty sweet photo of the cast. This is going to be the story of the people who went and got the plans for the Death Star that Leia uploads into R2 in episode 4. So it's all going to be like a heist mission in space, which sounds awesome. And I know more about this movie than I do about the one coming out in December.
Hold on the same. Okay, so since you brought that up, we were talking about the Facebook page. Someone posted.
Wait, Rogue One, or the fact that I know nothing about Force Awakens?
The fact you know nothing about the Force Awakens. So here's what someone said. He goes, I have to ask. When can we expect another full trailer? The teaser you gave us on Instagram only made us want more. And the official Star Wars Facebook page replied, "You may ask. We won't answer."
Oh, poor.
And CJ's just fine.
So funny. I'm okay with it. So 2015, we're gonna have the Force Awakens. 2016, we're gonna have Rogue One. 2017, we're gonna have Episode 8. Then 2018, Star Wars Story. Did you read what that was, Brian? That was the only one I missed.
I don't know. I think that might just be a working title. I don't know if maybe that's for the Han Solo prequel or the Boba Fett prequel they've been talking about and throwing around. Gotcha. I think it's just a working title right now.
And then 2019, Jesus, that's going to be Episode 9. So that's fun, exciting stuff to see that the Star Wars franchise has a lot of things going forward. That's kind of Marvel-esque.
Well, what's exciting is that we've had this expansive universe since 1977. We've only discovered recently, since Marvel said, hey, it's viable to do these expanded universes in movies, and it makes sense and it works, that we can actually explore this. I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be really cool to see what they do with it. It's just a matter of whether or not they market it. That's all I'm wondering.
The expanded universe, though, has a lot of some of the same characteristics as the comic book universe, where certain storylines just aren't acknowledged by others. So they're going to have to be careful if they're going down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, and in that same vein, though, Lucasfilm and LucasArts in general has been pretty close to their source material. I would say probably the only exception is maybe some of the novels to that. A lot of that stuff has to get approved by Lucas as a company before it gets released. And if they do anything or say anything that's not in his vision, they don't let it go through. In fact, I just read a story where they had to change the variant issue of a comic book that Dark Horse was about to release because it didn't fit in their vision, and they had to scrap the entire thing and reprint it. So
nice.
I mean, they have their fingers all over everything.
I feel like I have more faith in this part now that it's not so much Lucas in control, that it's Disney, kind of at the helm, because the prequels really kind of didn't give anybody any kind of hope, and I feel like seeing a long list of Star Wars movie now, knowing that Disney's at the helm, I'm pretty comfortable with the path that this is going to go down. Well, I don't see a bad movie in that lineup. That everything looks like it's going to be cool.
If you had to pick anybody for your starting lineup, J.J. Abrams is the guy you want coming out the gate with that stuff.
I'm looking at the cast of Rogue One, and it's impressive. I mean, like, really, a lot of faces that you know. Maybe not names that you know, but when you see him, you're like, oh, I know that guy. I mean, like, Forrest Whitaker's in there, and you've got a whole bunch of other people.
Right.
It's phenomenal.
And you look at those faces and know that they're all going to die, because many people died getting those plans.
Right.
Many.
And a lot of innocent stormtroopers died on that Death Star. They had families, families.
Don't get Randall started.
Stormtroopers.
I love anyone who when you go to any convention and someone shows up as a stormtrooper, they usually have a stormtrooper kid, and that kid has a sign that says, "My parents died on the Death Star." Just something just to make you laugh. I always think that's clever.
Lovely.
Advertising being an orphan is clever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
you got a messed up sense of everything.
I thought Annie was hilarious. Was that not supposed to be the outcome I had of that film? No,
it's a hard knock life for a stormtrooper.
All right. I see whatever you say.
Zoe couldn't get her head wrapped around that. She was, where are her parents? What is happening? She just doesn't understand. It's like, why is she just walking around singing, and where are her parents?
She needs a better jacket. It's New York. It's cold. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would have loved to have been in that car. Did you have to explain to her that, or you just
No, I just laughed. I just laughed and said, you know what? You're right. It doesn't make sense. Let's turn this crap off.
Oh, well. But listen, anyway, I think the fate of the Star Wars saga is in good hands. I think Tom Baker even said he's going to be involved in one of the movies. He played the fourth Doctor in Doctor Who. That's pretty cool. I think he's a voice actor for that.
Tom Baker said he was going to be involved in this in this new Star Wars thing. He said could be the video games, could be the animated series, could be anything.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, even if he does voice acting, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Because eventually someone's going to figure out a way to tie Doctor Who and Star Wars together, and that'll just make me like go yippee
Then that would be another fan
crazy.
theory we can talk about.
Exactly. Are you kidding me? That's a whole show right there.
Speaking of fan theories and theories in general, D23 also officially announced Incredibles 2, Finding Nemo 2, Cars 3 for their next 3 films as well, which I am super excited.
So John Negroni, you got some work to do on your Pixar theory.
Finding Nemo 2?
Yeah, it's all about Dory. Well, it's not Finding Nemo 2. I
thought Dory was all about Dory.
It's Finding Dory.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Dory somehow gets lost, I'm sure, because of her impeccable memory.
I'm gonna have to get a lot more depth on that.
The point of that is Incredibles 2, Josh.
Yeah,
Incredibles 2 is I can't wait for
be amazing.
Dare I say it's incredible?
No, you dare not say that.
I dare not say that. How dare I say that?
And I know you didn't like Cars 2. I did. So Cars 3 is interesting.
I never liked the Cars franchise.
Why? They're entertaining. They're fun.
The first one's good. The second one is the one I have troubles with.
To me, Cars opened the world for planes, and that's Cars' fault.
Okay, but it's Cars
and Larry the Cable Guy.
Cars was good.
Yeah, I'm not saying
And
it was
Mater's-
bad. It's
Mater's
just like
funny.
I'm not like when I race out to grab Pixar movies, like, yo, we should watch a Pixar movie. I'm not going Cars. I'll go Ratatouille over Cars.
No. Well, don't say it like that. Ratatouille was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not
Cars
like
on the
that's
bottom
not
of
a
the list.
good. That's not like I would go Finding Nemo over. No, I wouldn't. I would watch Cars over Finding Nemo every day.
What do you got against Finding Nemo?
I don't know. I just didn't like it.
You got to just keep swimming.
It's
That and then the whole thing about he's already dead.
he connects as a father. Like I'm sure it's just like, "Oh, this is a horrible father. Like I would never let this happen to my kids."
Well, not. I mean, the thing is that the whole story, right? The fan theory is that the Nemo's dead. He's already
yeah, that's
gone.
another fan theory.
That's
So-
but don't watch the movie with that perspective, and then
Well, I can't watch it with any other perspective.
You should
I'm
just stay
rude.
away
so
from the
I could like
internet
really
sometimes.
poison a movie experience for you, couldn't I? I could just be like, hey, I have a theory that did you read the Friends theory about Phoebe?
Oh,
So
God.
awful.
Where
That made me-
basically it's
almost made me
now I have
cry.
to now I have to give credit to this and actually tell the theory a little bit. Basically,
Hang on. No, I can read the theory verbatim.
oh, do you? Oh, please go ahead.
I can just
That's all you.
pull it up if you give me 2 minutes here.
2 minutes.
Oh,
Josh
not-
Filler, play me
not
off. Then-
legitimately.
It seems like a lot of time, and you don't need to pull it up because I read the thing, and the whole story is told from the perspective of Phoebe as a meth addicted, crazy homeless person staring into the window of Central Perk at these other characters who are. She's inventing their personalities and their relationships. That they're just random people. They're just a bunch of randos that she's inventing this story. The fountain in the beginning of the opening credits is basically where she sleeps. It's just a very
So leave it to some guy with too much time on Twitter. So he posted this on Twitter. And I have it in front of me here, so I can read it verbatim so everybody can then cry later. So he posted here, I'd have ended Friends by revealing it was all the meth-addled fantasy of a homeless Phoebe as she stared through the window of Central Perk. Every kooky side, every episode she made, everything about her, every instance of how much an outsider she was, it all makes sense. All 10 seasons were merely her fevered imagination projecting herself into the lives of the other 5. All she ever wanted was friends. The final scene would be Phoebe walking away from Central Perk with the Ross, Rachel, Joey, Chandler, Monica characters making a reference to the crazy lady who always stares at us. They all have different names and personalities. Phoebe walks past a furniture store and catches her reflection in a mirror placed in the window. The name of the store is Ursula. And then finally she returns to the park where she sleeps in front of the fountain. A broken lamp stands next to her bench. It starts to rain. From behind we see her put up 6 sturdy but brightly lit colored umbrellas. Fade to black. And I will give you 2 seconds to cry and then question your life.
What medication do I need to get this man to get that thought out of your head? Like what? How can you watch a show like that and be like, hey, would it be screwed up if it was all? No, why? Why does your brain go right to there? It's depressing.
Yeah, it's very depressing. The world may never know. So the point is, Josh, some fan theories are not meant to be taken seriously.
doesn't matter whether I take it seriously or not. It's there.
Wait,
Like,
so
now it's in my head.
So now you're gonna watch Friends and be like, oh, it's all Phoebe's meth addict.
No,
fantasy?
now I'm never gonna watch Friends again.
That's impossible. It's always syndicated. It's literally impossible to stay away from.
I will
Friends.
turn the channel. I'm not. You know what? I'm going to say this. I'm not sure the last time I watched TV that wasn't a live sporting event.
Well, I mean, at this
So-
time of the year, you're probably right.
So I don't watch. I'm certainly not going to watch Friends when it's on syndication with commercials like a poor person. I'm not going to do that.
Like
Like a
peasant.
plebeian with extra commercials.
Peasant.
like a hobo. Like I'm not going to like Phoebe.
Like Phoebe. You son of a
I'm not going to do it. I'm not.
Especially when it's on
I
Netflix.
Although I did read something about something that followed that. Like again, Imager, right? Top comments. Ross opens a rival coffee shop across the street called Jurassic Perk.
That's so good. Oh, that would be great.
So I'll never watch it again. It's over.
Well, speaking of things that people do watch and did watch, and this is the section of the show where Josh will make throw up sounds and have convulsions. But let's talk about Fear the Walking Dead. because AMC's Fear the Walking Dead, just so everyone's aware of this, the prequel series to The Walking Dead, premiered on Sunday the 23rd to the highest TV premiere in cable history. Over 10.1 million people watched the premiere of the show.
Wow.
That's freaking insane.
You were a part of that, CJ. Congrats.
I was a part of that. It was fantastic.
So was I, but yeah.
So we have to apologize, just so everyone can kind of feel this here. We record usually on a Friday or Saturday evening. Fear the Walking Dead premiered on a Sunday. We're always going to just be an episode behind, so we're not going to talk about it every week. But I want to give some initial impressions about this series for people who maybe haven't seen all of The Walking Dead, people who have, people who kind of want to get into it, don't know where to start. I like this show a lot. It takes some time to get up and running, but I really enjoyed it. And the cast is just phenomenal. And I can't wait to see what comes of this, but I really want to give Brian his 2 cents because I feel him breathing down my neck right now. So you have
I'm not breathing down your neck. I just have a different opinion.
I know you do, but you have that smug look in your face. So
it's not. This is just my face. Back off.
That's fine. Well,
listen, it's not that I didn't enjoy the show. I thought it was interesting. Well, I watched the second episode, absolutely. And I don't even mind the fact that it was a little slow. I understand this is the beginning of the epidemic that is being picked up in the main Walking Dead series. I get that. But my problem is I'm supposed to feel some sort of attachment to these characters so that when they are threatened by some sort of zombie or undead or some life-threatening situation, I want them to get out of it. I did not feel anything. You say the cast was great. I didn't feel that. I hated every single character. I hate they're not redeemable to me. They could all turn into zombies episode 2 and I just wouldn't care. I don't care about them at all. That's my problem with the show. I mean, I'm going to watch it. It's only 6 episodes. We'll see if it gets any better, but I just was not that impressed. It's a shame because I really wanted to like it.
What I do like about this show is that it does kind of break the traditional like family conventions that you're used to seeing when it comes to shows like this. And you get to see kind of,
you got the stepdad who has his son with another wife, and he's trying to relate to these 2 kids and whatever. But
not even that.
They're all just assholes. They're all just pains in the ass.
They're in California. That's about right. My apologies to anyone who is a listener in California, but
I haven't found that like. They're assholes because they're in California is a little ridiculous.
CJ, there are assholes everywhere. You're guilty of it sometimes anyway. But,
well, when Josh goes to California, isn't that at least one I can get? I'm just kidding. I love you.
Ha! So when I'm there, California's an asshole.
At least has one asshole. I can guarantee you one asshole in California when your presence is there.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's true. That's a true story.
No, but I didn't mean that like, hey, they're not, all blood related. I mean, no, it's not like a happy-go-lucky family that then gets thrown upside down and has to deal with chaos. I mean, you start with a guy who's a drug addict waking up in a church whose family hasn't seen him in God knows how long, and you're kind of dealing with the fact that this isn't a put together family, and they're going to either bond after, but because of what happens, or they're going to fall apart and crumble to pieces because of the fall of civilization.
Did it start with the blue meth or not?
No.
There was no blue meth in this show as of yet. And again, the second episode is airing by the time everyone's listening to this. So maybe, who knows? Maybe episode 2 had blue meth. But so far in episode 1, no. Not that we can see.
I don't know if I just had really high expectations or whatnot. But, I mean, all those characters could die. I don't care.
Well, so, like, that's the thing I don't understand. Because, like, I really gravitated toward Kim Dixon's character. She's from Deadwood.
Yes,
Josh.
She is from Deadwood. She's, what's the?
She was also in Sons of Anarchy. She always plays a whore, and she's the first time
she's the one who opens her own brothel in season 2, which is where I'm at. I can't remember her name. Okay. Jenny something with a J. It doesn't matter. She's a
great character. I love watching that character.
You're talking about Joni Stubbs from the Bella Union.
Yes.
Okay.
For all the Deadwood fans out there, all 2 of you.
Sons of Anarchy fans.
Yes. But I think her character is fascinating, I'm thinking that she's the quote unquote Rick like character, but I don't know if she will live through this. That's my thing.
Oh no, they're all gonna die. That's the point of the show.
I don't know. Are they all? I mean,
no, they're all gonna die. They're all gonna die. They have to. They have to die. And the drug addict who got them all into this mess to begin with is going to be the last one standing. That's my prediction.
Ain't that a kick in the face? What's really cool about this, and what they've been saying in the trailers, if you've seen any trailers, is that when civilization falls, it falls quickly. And for those of you who maybe aren't, religious Walking Dead fans, or people who are kind of getting through it right now and you're not all the way, the good part is this is a standalone series that you don't have to watch The Walking Dead in order to see. You don't have to be current. You don't have to know the philosophy of it. You can just jump into it and see it. And what's real cool is that this is kind of taking place in the blackout part, in the part that we don't see in the original Walking Dead series. So when Rick is out of it and he wakes up to the zombie apocalypse, this is the beginning part of it. And I think that's really interesting because, to be honest, if you're a subscriber of One Day the Zombie Apocalypse Will Happen, which it will, this is kind of how you have to look at it and say, well, okay, it's going to happen this quickly, and here's what to do and what not to do.
That's interesting.
What? The zombie apocalypse will happen one day, John.
I do have something to say about it, but I don't think I can articulate it appropriately, so I'll let Neil deGrasse Tyson do it for me.
Okay.
I'm just going to play this for you right now.
I know exactly what you're going to play.
No, it's a universe of microbes.
Just wait.
Okay. Hey, so is it true that the only way to kill a zombie is to shoot it in the head?
John, please, you cannot kill something that's already dead. Without a functioning circulatory system distributing oxygenated blood, a zombie's muscles would succumb to rigor mortis. They couldn't even stand, let alone walk. And they'd have no desire to eat brains because their fatty tissue would have stopped producing the hormone leptin, which triggers the sensation of hunger in the first place. I'm just saying.
So not only
sciencey on this,
not only will it never ever happen, but to subscribe to it in any way makes you a goddamn idiot.
Well, no, what happens if you subscribe to the theory that it's not, that you're not dead, but like it's kind of like rabies for humans, like your brain's kind of boiled?
Do you know how quickly rabies kills you?
I'm just.
That's why it's a mutant.
It's a mutant strand of. Read the Zombie Survival Handbook because there's stuff in there. Yeah, it's really good.
Stop calling them zombies.
Fine. Walkers.
They're not.
Are you happy?
No.
Here's my thing, though. The only thing I'll say first off is, yeah, it's fiction, duh. But the second thing is, Mr. Tyson, if you subscribe to the infinite universe theory, there is a universe where zombies exist, and we could be in that universe. You never know.
Based upon what do dead things walk around?
The infinite universe theory says that there's a universe where everything has occurred. There is a universe where you, Josh, are the 12th Doctor. You are Matt Smith, and you are the Doctor. For real. Flown around there. There's a universe where that exists.
I can, I neither.
Yeah, but he lives in this one, so he doesn't care.
Theory is in any way true.
Excuse me, is that a fez behind you? I don't.
Nope.
Nope.
But fezzes are cool.
Fezzes are cool, and so are bow ties and Stetsons.
Stetsons, yes.
Yeah, they're cool. But listen, the fact, Josh, I know you're not a big fan of zombies.
No, but I think it's so cute that you guys are.
I'm not a fan of zombies. I enjoy the genre. I think The Walking Dead's a good show, and I think it's a good comic book.
I remember my first beer.
For me, it's not so much the actual zombies themselves. That's not the part that's exciting to me. It's the humanity for it. It's the fall of civilization. It's the not really necessarily fearing the dead, but fearing the living kind of thing.
It's how people. You're saying you're a fan of how.
Watching people turn to savages? Yeah, that's so cool.
You're a fan of just how horrible people can be to one another.
Do you love Mad Max? Of course you do. Why? Because you love how awful, terrible people are.
Okay,
did you like This Is the End? Of course you did, because you loved how awful people got.
I need you to rewind for 2 seconds because you brought up Mad Max. And that comes out on Blu-ray and DVD this Tuesday. And if you have not seen it, rent it. Buy it, honestly, because it's a
Mad
fantastic
Max was
movie.
A redemption story, dude. Not a story of how people are terrible.
It's not a story about savages. It's a story about
redemption,
this
and heart,
guy
and
who-
love.
No, but the bad guys in that series are the worst examples of humanity. If you can,
You
even
have
call it humanity.
one bad guy
One.
who uses one thing to control everybody else. You're in a dystopian future where water is scarce, and the one guy who has it uses it to get whatever he wants.
It's just like
And
the Book of Eli.
the entire movie is about usurping and getting rid of this bad guy. And lots of awesome explosions and desert storms and stuff happens. And honestly, it honestly was my sleeper hit of the summer. I was just talking about it with some friends today. It was very well done, very well acted. Tom Hardy's a badass. Charlize Theron is even more badass in that movie. And it's worth your time. Rent it. It's fantastic.
I didn't see the movie, so I apologize for my terrible description.
That's a problem.
So see the
dude.
movie
And
before you shoot your
listen,
mouth off.
I couldn't see everything.
Heartbreaking.
Okay,
And the
fine.
guy-
It's just
what
like the Book
Nicholas-
of Eli, where it's
Nicholas
still one
Hoult
bad guy.
was fantastic in that. He was awesome in that.
Yeah, no, listen, the reviews were very positive. I was very skeptical for it.
It is Nicholas Hoult, right? I'm saying that name right.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult.
I just didn't get to see it. But I have to say, the reason, and again, the reason I like The Walking Dead and the fear of The Walking Dead so far is not the zombies themselves. I don't like watching somebody eat guts out of another person. It's watching the other people around him and how they react and how
Really
you
hope
think you
not.
can
Yeah.
survive for that.
No, since we're sort of since we sort of moved off the topic of talking about Fear the Walking Dead, and I'm sick of it anyway. Nicholas Hoult is the trailer for his new movie just dropped, and it's called Kill Your Friends, and it's basically a not a reboot, but it's a take on American Psycho placed in the 80s British rock scene. And it's I watched the
sounds
trailer
awesome.
twice. It looks
Yeah,
unbelievably good, and Nicholas Hoult plays the Patrick Bateman character.
Yeah, sign me up.
That's awesome. That trailer is so cool.
Right,
That's
right. The dude looks cold. It looks interesting, and the idea of getting to the top of an industry by murdering your way there is something that's going to play well on the screen, I think.
That's so cool. And the cast looks awesome.
Yeah.
I'm very interested. I'm going to check it out. I like him as an actor. I really do. I like the last scene is very American Psycho-esque with him shirtless with the blood splatter all over him. Yeah, I'm in. Sign me up.
That looks so. When is? Do we know? That says coming soon. Do we have a date?
I don't have a date.
All right, that looks amazing. We're gonna put the trailer, the Red Band trailer, in the show notes so you guys can watch it with us. Like, actually get pretty excited. That looks so cool. There needs to be more movies like that, or I don't know. Maybe you spare them out and make them special when they happen. But
Or really just anything British. If there can just be more British
More
things.
British. That's okay. They
More-
have most of our superheroes, so it's all right.
I'm just so much of an Anglophile. It's unbelievable.
Why did you just move there, Jesus? Or let's just do the podcast then with British accents. And
I
maybe we'll
can't.
get-
I
Yeah,
have a
I
sh-
can't
have a
do that. Are you
complete
kidding
shit
me?
British
I was
accent.
going to say maybe get more people to listen. Yeah.
You can do everything in a British
So
accent.
listen, I have a question there. If you're listening to the podcast, you should turn it up. Take it all the way up to 11. I know what you're asking. Why not make 10 the loudest? Because your iPod goes to 11. That's a better way to do it. It's
Your
more.
iPod technically doesn't have
10.
numbers. It just has a bar.
Why you got to take a shit on it? Seriously. Like, why can't you just let the bit be its thing, mate?
You can't
Like, why
even
gotta-
yell at me without it sounding like really nice and polite. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, no, it sounds fantastic. It sounds like, listen, go die in a fire. It's okay. No one ever cares. It's
I'm like,
just-
you know
that's
what? I
it
should
does.
go die in a fire.
Right, yeah,
Oh
it sounds
my
like a good
God.
idea. Listen, I'll bring some marshmallows. We'll have some chips, and we'll just let
Oh
it
my
go.
God, I love s'mores.
Right, it'd be great. We'll
Yeah.
have some fish sticks and custard.
Oh God.
Fish fingers and custard. I think it'd be a good idea. No. All right, I'll stop there. Thanks. I'm just gonna do it one of these days. I'm just gonna do an entire show, just in a different dialect, just to be that guy. Anyway, that's my shenanigans for today. So speaking of shenanigans, I love these segues. They're phenomenal. YouTube kind of announced that it's looking to change the way in which you kind of view your content, in a way in which you kind of connect with creators. So this is pretty weird. Right now, we're kind of used to YouTube just having ads, which you can skip or you play through them. It's good. It helps the content creators. So I mean, if you see an ad, just suffer through it. Just let the person get the couple cents. And I mean, it's pennies for the ad revenue. But what's great about YouTube right now is it's open, and you can just find your favorite creator, or just find any video, and watch what you want to watch. And YouTube is kind of saying that they want to split themselves into basically 3 services. One, which is traditional YouTube that you're used to now. One, which is behind a paywall, connecting to premium content creators. And then the third is a music service, also through a paywall. What did you guys think of this? Because it's not official yet. It's just kind of what's floating around. What did you guys think of this?
It's the first I'm hearing of it. It's the first I'm hearing of it.
I put it in the notes for you.
Pay for what though? Like, what are we?
So there's a couple things that they want to do. They want to do renting movies, so you can actually rent movies on YouTube. But people also make, their own content and make short films, make movies that they put on YouTube. And if they're a popular content creator, so just for example, this isn't a channel that's doing this. I'm just picking it out of my head. Let's just say Epic Rap Battles of History, right? If you want to get them, it's kind of like a sports entertainment package with a cable provider. If you want to get channels that are just like that, it's a monthly subscription, and it gets you unlimited access to them with no ads and stuff like that. And then you can watch those content creators. So they're actually coming to people who are extremely popular on YouTube and saying, you make high production videos, you make high production movies, and you put them on YouTube instead of going out other ways. Come join us, come be part of our network. We'll put a paywall up like a Netflix subscription, and people can watch all they want to. It's
nope.
That's a very rude way of explaining it.
It's a very broken down way. Listen, I'm not a fan of it, but here's the thing. I use YouTube for movie trailers and Geek and Sundry channel, so I can watch Felicia Day and I can watch Will Wheaton Tabletop. And if I have to start paying to see that, I'm going to be a little upset. And then the only other thing I use it for is if I need to learn the lyrics to a song, like. If I want to learn if I want to learn the lyrics to Straight Outta Compton, I'll put up a lyrics music video.
You don't just go to like azlyrics.com or
no, because it usually has like it's like the bouncing, like you remember those Disney sing-along
No, I
channels?
know, but the problem is the YouTube channel ones are just their lyrics by, some dude or whatever.
Yeah, they're usually spot on.
I mean, that's really what Easy Lyrics is. It's just crowdsourced lyrics.
Yeah.
Right, but it's usually funneled through more channels than some guy creating a YouTube video. Yeah. My big concern with this is, and I don't use YouTube for a ton of stuff, but I think like Epic Mealtime is one of those hugely popular channels that has a revenue stream created from the videos they've made, and I don't want to have to pay for that if I'm bored and I want to binge watch.
That's the thing with Geek and Sundry too. They have a huge following. They have a huge ad base and ad revenue base already. I don't see why I should have to pay for that content. And if it's going to be at that point, I'm going to be a little upset.
And let me just be clear: the channels that we're mentioning, they're not officially saying that they're doing this. So
nothing's official.
Well, no,
right. I don't want to get any red flags and get angry at any content creators.
Absolutely. I want to make it very clear that I'm not going to pay for Epic Mealtime.
Right. So
I don't like that they've announced that they're going to be charging people to watch Epic Mealtime.
So this is all speculation, and this is what they said. Basically, before the end of 2015, they're going to. So there's a service that's been in beta for about a year now. It's called Music Key, and it basically is a premium music listening channel through YouTube with not only behind the scenes footage, but also music videos, but then also the songs themselves. Some people will go onto YouTube and just kind of treat it like their own personal Pandora. They'll treat it like their own Spotify. So that people are trying to get around that, and YouTube's been very strict with that.
Do you like?
No, there really are some people who get around.
Some people have movie theme song playlists that they may assemble on YouTube and listen to. Present company totally not excluded.
So when you do that, you're using your phone? You're running YouTube on your phone?
Yeah, I just pull up YouTube on my phone, I pull up a playlist, and it plays. I mean, I can't put my phone to sleep. It's got to play the video, but...
When I need a quick video or, like, somebody brings something up on a 5-hour car ride and wants to watch something, like, that's when I use YouTube on my phone. I would say 90% of the time that I use YouTube, it's in front of It's at my desk or on my laptop. So I don't use it all that much. I can't imagine people are tethered to their machines because the functionality on mobile isn't that good.
You got to think there's over 1 billion users.
Yeah, they
on
outranked
YouTube.
They outranked Spotify for music.
Yeah. Seriously,
for
people are
using it for music.
People are using it
Really?
in ways that that are different than what you and I use it for. And what's weird about this is that, Google really kind of tried to make the push for Google Play Music. And it waned and waxed, and some people use it, some people don't, because Spotify and RDO and Pandora and Apple Music came out, and it just became a lot easier to use than Google Play Music, unless, of course, you're a huge Android fanboy, and you definitely are subscribed to that. But it's not their main focal point. But with over 1 billion people using YouTube, it's pretty easy for them to sustain, if they really wanted to, 2 subscription bases. It's kind of like when Netflix said, listen, we're going to do one for streaming and one for still getting DVDs to your house. And everyone was like, well, why would you do that? And they're like, well, because we could. They later reversed that.
The difference is Netflix was already a paid subscription to begin with, not like a free service that I could use. So the idea of saying, well, here's 2 different services now made sense.
No,
because
what I'm saying is that they could sustain it. They have 1 billion people. They can go ahead and experiment, and if they lose 2% of that, they're not going to cry. If they say, okay, listen, that was a dud, let's go back to the way things were, and a couple of people are like, well, screw that, I'm using Vimeo now. They're not losing any content creators. They're not losing people that they couldn't live without.
We'll see.
So I thought it was interesting because, to Josh's point too, it's one of those things where I have a hard time paying for subscriptions for things. I'm mooching off my brother's Netflix account. I'm mooching off my brother's Hulu account. I'm finally paying for Apple Music and a music subscription service, which took forever for me to get on board to. That if you take YouTube in that equation, I'm not heavy into it right now, but that's a barrier for me. And I'll go look at Dailymotion. I'll go look at Vimeo. I'll go look at another way to get my content out there. If it's going to be a little different. I just know how you guys feel about it. What about the music part? What if Google's new music key is good enough that it would make you want to subscribe to that music service? Because Josh, you try out every music service that's ever been out.
Yeah. I mean, I once I settle on something I like, I generally stop trying.
It's $8 a month. It's ad free. It's got music videos. And it's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of artists, because YouTube has a great relationship already with record labels. Hence why you can't use copyrighted music in a YouTube video. So they got a large library. Would you try something like this out for $8?
I would not, because I can't. I don't like their app. I don't like. It doesn't always. You shut off your screen. It doesn't always continue working. I just don't. I don't like the app. So I probably wouldn't use the app for music, because I don't want to have to keep messing with it.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do this music key, it's got to be its own seperate app.
It is.
I have to be able to put my phone to sleep.
Yeah, it's going to be its own standalone thing, because they have a standalone, or they did at one point have a standalone Android app, at least for maybe developers or something. It's like I said, it's been in beta for a year, so it's not. It's not widely known. It's not a most popular platform, so I know they got some things to work out for it. But if it was its own, let's just say it was. If they just said, "Hey, listen, what do our users want?" Google's usually pretty good at saying what do users want, and they would want their own app. It was a standalone app, kind of just like Pandora, kind of just.
I mean, I don't understand why branch off from Play Music.
Well, I mean, Google's restructuring themselves all around. That's why now we have this Alphabet company, which actually. No,
I understand that, but Play Music is their music app.
It's because it's not as widely received as the brand YouTube. YouTube is a better brand than the Google Play brand.
Well, then why wouldn't they just call this YouTube Play Music and it'd be the same thing?
Because just putting a new name on it isn't going to solve their issue.
I don't know. Pass. I can't see it. I can't see it ever gaining. There's so many players in the game, and especially now Apple is just getting bigger and bigger in the music app, I don't see it ever jumping from Pandora, Spotify, Apple. Google Play Music is not, even among Android users, it's not all that popular.
Right. So let's say this. So I think we all agree veto on any kind of YouTube music key program, right? That I wouldn't pay for that.
No.
All right, Brian.
Nobody got time for that.
All right, cool. So let's say this. We guys have seen some amazing content creators, like that Power Rangers YouTube video that came out. That was amazing production value.
I saw that fan-made Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yes.
Which was awesome. Which was 18 minutes and had Jaleel White as the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. For those of you who don't know, I'm talking to Melissa. Jaleel White was Steve Urkel on Family Matters, and he was very nerdy and stuff.
So let's say YouTube grabs some of those content creators and says, "Listen, we really love that Power Rangers, thing. I know a studio's not going to greenlight you to do it. Here's some money to go make your own video, to go make your own feature. Here's a feature, and we're going to put it on our subscription based playlist here. Someone pays $8 a month, they get access to it, just like Amazon, just like Netflix, and it's made by the YouTube content creators. Would you try something like that? Do you think that has a place in the market?
No, well, I think it has a place. I wouldn't pay for it, but what I do see is it creating opportunity for some really talented filmmakers, and in that case, somebody who gets sponsorship to create a feature to do it could really stand out. The problem is that when that happens, you're creating a forum for anybody with a phone to try to make a movie, and that's dangerous. It's just a lot of content for content's sake.
It looks like, though, that it's not you can just put your shit on this service. You have to be invited. You have to be accepted to this kind of community in order to be part of it.
Listen, about three years ago, in 2011 or 2012, YouTube said, okay, we're going to invest in certain people and certain ideas, and that's how you got all these really popular channels like Geek and Sundry, like Epic Mealtime, and they invested in them, and were pretty much producers for these people who are now internet stars or producing internet content, and they pulled out about a year ago, said we're not going to fund your stuff anymore. Is it because it wasn't profitable? I have no idea, but the only way I would be okay with paying for any of this is if that money were to go into those people's pockets to produce their show. I don't need to pay YouTube just for the pleasure of watching content that I've already that they're not using that money to make the content that I want. So it's really kind of I don't know. I honestly don't know. It depends on how that money gets used.
I think you bring up a good point, because there's a very big misconception that if you have a couple 100,000 or even 1 million hits on your channel, or even just one video, that you hence are swimming in $1 million. And
no, it's all about ads when it comes to that ad revenue.
And the truth is, even if you have an ad and you have 1 million views, you're still not getting a ton of money. YouTube takes a good cut out of that. So a lot of your favorite content creators, some of them are still doing this part-time, or some of them are still just kind of doing something else to supplement their income. Now, on the other side of things, I know PewDiePie made $17 million last year.
He made $4 million.
Was it $4 million?
I think it was just 4.
That's still, he made millions.
That's still $4 million more than I have.
But he is the literal exception to the rule for that. I mean, he has put so much time and effort into that channel, growing and that's his business. So it kind of makes sense. But even very popular niche YouTube creators aren't getting their money. So I think, just like you say, Brian, if your subscription is going to support the artist directly, it's giving them the budget, it's doing that, and it's less money in YouTube and Google's pocket and more money in the content creator. I mean, the artist in me says that sounds good. That sounds like something I could get behind. It's the kind of like the philosophy behind Tidal, but without being assholes about it.
It sounds less like YouTube is changing, and it sounds a little bit like they're just diversifying their brand into different tiers of entertainment. And I'd be willing to bet that there will be some content from all of these places available, and if you want all of the content, you'll pay for it. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to start shutting off pieces of what's been so good for so long and just saying, well, from now on, this is only available here. I'm not crazy about it. YouTube is, it's everybody knows YouTube. Everybody goes to it for reference or entertainment or whatever. And I just think that saying now we're going to section off this content just doesn't make sense.
I get you. I forgot what I was gonna say. Could have been that good then. Could have been that good. Can't remember what I was gonna say.
Going back to the Urkel thing, I will say this. Carl Winslow made a cameo. Carl Winslow, I don't know the actor's name, but from Family Matters. Carl Winslow made a cameo on an episode of Chuck, sort of reprising his role as the cop
wow,
from
you're that
Die
far
Hard.
already.
Hold on, wait a minute. Whoa. Chuck? Yeah.
We made a deal. We made a deal.
Know. And a Lannister always pays his debts, right, Josh?
A Lannister always pays his debts. I finished up West Wing, I think, on Tuesday. I started Chuck Tuesday night. So I'm 5 days later. I'm season 2, episode 12.
Wow. Good show, sir. Good show.
It's all right. Laura likes it more than I do. My brother-in-law,
Laura's
Aaron,
a smart person.
likes it a bit. It's okay. The acting is pretty shit. And it's just, she likes it because it's like Scrubs. It's pretty much the same thing.
It's like Scrubs.
It is. It's like,
Scrubs
so I'm
with the
watching this
CIA.
going, this is Scrubs. It's just Scrubs. It's the same formula. So
It works. It gets better. It gets a little different.
I'm
Adam
It's
Baldwin
enter-
is just hilarious. Not Adam
Oh,
Baldwin.
he's so
Doesn't matter
good.
to me.
No, Adam Baldwin.
No, is it
Or
Adam Baldwin?
It's
He's
Adam Baldwin.
great.
He's so good.
He's phenomenal in that show.
who's Adam Baldwin?
Kevin Casey.
John Casey?
John Casey.
John Casey.
Is it John Casey? I'm thinking Kevin
it's John
Casey Scrubs,
Casey.
right?
I'm more at this point just watching it for Yvonne Strahovski than anything.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But it's and I fell in love with her on Dexter, and then so this is just really cool. I like her. She's really funny and she's entertaining. But the main character, I just wanted to stop being such a puss all the time. I liked it. I liked the gift shop girl from Scrubs as a main character.
Yes.
She's from Everwood in my mind. She will always be from Everwood.
Well, she's gift shop girl.
She's gift shop girl.
Right.
So,
Everwood first, but it's
listen.
okay.
So now that you've seen the show, I can tell
Yeah.
you. I can tell you the story, because you need to like the show. It's really important that you like the show to me, because that show is like 85% of the reason why I applied to be in our previous job.
Is it really?
It is.
That is actually the inner workings of that store.
Are we just gonna just tiptoe around it? Do we not just want to say it? Do we
Okay,
just-
so-
I don't know. I don't know if you do. I don't know if you want to just.
all right, listeners. I was a
advertising.
Geek Squad agent. We'll put it that way, and that's where
All
I
right.
met these fine gentlemen.
Yeah.
And,
so the three of us worked at Best Buy, and Chuck does not loosely parody Best Buy. It's spot on.
It's pretty
it's
freaking
there.
accurate.
From everything from I was watching it with Laura and with Aaron, and the Harry Tang character gets promoted, and they're like, "Is it like that?" I'm like, "I've seen it be like that."
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
been like that.
situations where it's like that, and
The
a lot of
miscellaneous
the-
crap that you can buy in there, like the cheese balls.
not just the miscellaneous crap, but like the miscellaneous activity and the how pretty much everybody's sleeping with everybody, and it's. I mean, this was 10 of the last 16 years of my life, so I draw. That is the most entertaining part of
Yeah.
it for me, is the dynamics that happen at work, and that's cool. A lot of the rest of it is sort of. I'm getting into it. It's entertaining. It's fun. I wouldn't call it a great show. It's probably not something I'm ever going to watch again. But it's fun to watch right now.
So I was closing my third Blockbuster when I started looking around for jobs, because I figured 3 Blockbusters, 3 strikes, I should probably find something else. And my sister brought it up. She's like, "Hey, they're hiring. If you got the job, you could be Chuck." And I'm like, that sounds like the most amazing thing in the world. I want to be Chuck. So
It's hilarious that not only that that you applied for and got the job based on this show, but that you very much your career emulated very much the early couple seasons of Chuck.
Yep.
And well, who's the guy that holds this together? It's Brian. Brian holds this piece together. Who do we go to when we need help? We get Brian. And it's just, I mean, I think it's hilarious. But it, it's cool and it's entertaining and it's fun. And I will tell you that from probably the second episode, I went, well, Brian likes this because it's him. and Laura's like, what, is Brian like that? I'm like, at work? He was kind of like that. And I could see him sort of peeing his pants in this situation. So, yeah.
And what's great, too, is kind of just like Chuck, the cat-to-male ratio in his house is very low.
Very low.
Very low, ladies. So it's okay if you want to be the corn dog girl in his life.
So, yeah, any CIA agents who want to download some secrets into my brain, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Is that an innuendo, or is that just legitimately asked
You
for?
can take it however you want. I'll take either at this point.
I'll give you then a status report too then on my streaming life right now, Josh, because I am this close. I'm so close. I'm on episode 12 of season 2 of Deadwood. I am loving Swearinger's monologues and his dialogue. I think it's phenomenal.
Yep.
I love that character so much. I gotta say I'm having a real hard time getting into this show. I get the whole backdoor politics
that
thing
hard
here.
for me.
See, for me, I get the whole backdoor.
I got into it real fast.
The politics part isn't interesting to me, and I feel like nothing's happening, or something's happening and I'm missing it. Like I feel like I'm missing something.
You are missing it.
So I may have to watch it again. But I'm liking it. I'm not saying it's a bad show. It's just I have to pour more effort into getting through what I need to get through. I'm hoping season 3 kind of helps me at the end of season 2. Holy crap! By the way, like stuff.
Yeah, don't
happening.
say anything. I'm not that far.
Yeah, I know. It's my ears perked up. I was amazed.
I'm at season 2, episode 2. I literally just started season 2, but I'm really enjoying it, and I think Timothy Oliphant is doing Timothy Oliphant things and Timothy Olyphanting everywhere because that's what he does. And I think he's great. Swearinger's great. He's super intense. He's got some.
He is super intense.
He's downright
Swearingen
scary.
was a for real character. He was a real live person. Owned the Gem Saloon in Deadwood. Seth Bullock was a real live person. I mean, it's a cool story in real life. It's way better on the screen, and
very much like Chuck with Brian in his life.
Al Swearingen, I'll tell you what. I mean, he's one of my favorite characters ever written, ever created.
So good.
He's good, and he's got this obscene prose to his speech, and it couldn't have been played by anybody as well as it was played by Ian McShane.
Yeah.
No one could have done that role better than he. And Timothy Oliphant really wasn't anything before Deadwood.
Yeah, this was his thing.
I mean, you got Deadwood, and then all of a sudden he's got Justified, and now he's huge, right?
There was a Hitman movie in there, too.
He did Live Free, Die Hard in between.
Everybody hated that Hitman movie.
But he did Live Free, Die Hard, which was good.
Yeah. I mean, it was good in that it had Kevin Smith in it.
He was in Gone in 60 Seconds as well with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he was.
With Christopher Eccleston.
And he was Delroy Lindo's partner. It was, fantastic. This is not a show, however, that you can use as background noise.
No.
If you are not watching it, you will miss everything. It's worse than, Frank Underwood's monologues or his little looks. It's way worse. You'll miss everything. And my favorite episode of maybe the entire series was late in season 1. It's the title is Mr. Wu. It's where you really start to see the interaction between Al and Wu.
Yeah.
And neither understands the other, but But they and they have just this way of communicating that you can't do without great actors,
Right.
and you can't do without great writers and great directors and everything.
The perfect storm has to align to make it seem like that.
Really
come
does.
through.
And I will say this, and if Apple wasn't going to give us an explicit rating before, they are now. Every time I say to my brother-in-law, he's one of my best friends. Every time I say to Aaron, no, I can't do this. I'm in San Francisco that week. Every time I say San Francisco, he says cocksucker. Every single time. Every time. Then this is for the past year. Every time I say San Francisco, that's what he says, and he says it in Woo's voice. And then we have to go on a back and forth. We have to go on a back and forth for 5 minutes about Woo and Al.
Let me just get some context, because I know a couple of people are like, I don't get the inside joke here. The Woo, the character Woo, speaks zero English whatsoever. And Al obviously doesn't speak any Chinese whatsoever. So they deal with like pictures and drawing and hand gestures and just repetitive words. And one of them is San Francisco cocksucker.
So Woo
good.
said it in it was in episode 10. It was in Mr. Woo. He says it the first time, and Al says, "Yeah, I'm particularly proud I taught you that phrase." And it's I laugh like a giant laugh every single time. I chuckle.
Yeah,
It's a great Brian. You're in for
every
some serious
scene that
entertainment.
he's in, especially in season 2, you can't do anything else. You just pay attention to him. He doesn't even have to say anything. You're watching him in the room. Your eyes are glued to him. No matter what, you're looking for anything that he can get. And that's the part of the show that I absolutely love. If you guys are big listeners to the show, you've heard us talk about this too. I encourage you guys to watch these shows as well and give us your feedback. Tell us what episodes you're on. I watch these shows. They're really great. Gets you in on the inside jokes too, so I know it makes your podcasting experience a little more enjoyable. Mike Nasser, finish your other shows before you dare start another. Let's just first
How many
start.
shows is Nasser watching right now?
Not enough. He keeps wanting me to watch Peaky Blinders, which I will watch, but I have a whole lot of other stuff to take care of.
I'm caught up on Peaky Blinders.
So there you go, Mike. Now, can you please watch Avengers, or was it Man of Steel? Watch Man of Steel. You haven't watched it yet.
Why did they kill the second movie?
They didn't
Second
kill
movie-
it.
Second movie of what?
Man of Steel.
They didn't kill it. It turned into Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
That's it. It wasn't. They weren't going to make a second one.
They're still going to make a second one, but they're reworking their entire structure.
My question is: this past week there was all kinds of buzz about they killed this movie. Specifically, they killed this movie.
yeah,
And there'll probably be a documentary about it too, right?
I don't know why. I don't know if maybe they're trying to just get through Justice League before they do a Man of Steel sequel. They also
they're just-
greenlit 3 Batman movies this week too, because
Nice.
the story goes they had a private screening of Batman v Superman, and there was a standing ovation, and everybody loved it. And then they went and killed Superman and said, "Well, let's do 3 more Batman movies."
There you go.
With Ben Affleck, with Batfleck as Batman. So, I mean, I think it's going to be cool as far as if we're going to talk about this real quick. I think Ben Affleck, Batfleck, Batman movies, I'm on board, especially since he's writing it with Jeff Johns. He's going to write the first one. So,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, since we hadn't managed to stay on topic about anything the whole podcast, I figured I'd bring
Just
this
so
one
everyone
up.
knows, I'm going to make the show notes later. Be like, I don't know what the fuck we talked about.
CJ had 3 topics, and we've discussed
I
24
think there's like
things.
24 things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Show notes are going to be like, we talked a lot. Figure it out for yourself.
Witty banter. Haha. Yeah, I don't know. I have to do a little bit more research. Maybe I'll have some more answers next week about why there's no buzz around Man of Steel 2, or if they decided
Maybe
to
they're
kill
just
it
trying to
for these
hype
Batman movies. I
Batman
don't know.
versus Superman by saying they killed Superman too.
Or if the rumors about Doomsday being in Batman v Superman are true, maybe there
would
won't
be
be a
awesome.
Superman by the end of that movie. Who knows? I don't know. We'll
Where's
see.
Max Landis right now? You write
I
that
was just
movie.
gonna say I introduced a few more people over vacation to Max Landis, and we rewatched Wrestling Isn't Wrestling. We rewatched The Death of Superman Lives, and we watched Regarding Clark. All
of these links, by the way, will be in our show notes. You need to stop listening to this show. Yeah, I'm actually telling you to stop. Watch
Max
those 3.
Max Landis is the writer of Chronicle, and obviously he's written other things. He's the son of John Landis, who's a brilliant and incredibly famous horror thriller director. Directed the Thriller music video that Michael Jackson did. But Max Landis is incredibly articulate and creative, and has these YouTube videos that are long.
It's like 20 minutes.
20 minutes plus, and entertaining the entire and funny. And if you blink, if you look away, you're gonna miss something. You're gonna miss a little nod or a little joke or here and there. And I mean, it's good. It's funny. It's entertaining, and it gives you a great deal of context about these topics that you wouldn't normally have otherwise, and background. It's just really cool.
And probably an artist that maybe I would go behind that subscription wall and pay for to watch.
As long as we're talking about Max Landis, I watched one of his videos. What was really funny, you're right. He's so articulate. He's so engaging that he's at a panel somewhere, and someone asks him, where did the guys in Chronicle get their powers? They go into this cave and all of a sudden they have powers. It's never really explained, what happened. And he tells the story. He's like, well, I always thought in my mind and the way I wanted, because we were going to do, a set of movies, and this is where we're going to go, and we're going to eventually explain that. And he tells a story about this like ancient algae that's existed since prehistoric time, and sometimes because it's living and it sends out these spores to get food and get drones to get it food to bring it back to the core of the earth because it's still living down there. And he goes on for like 15 minutes, and he's like, and that's really doesn't matter because it doesn't matter where they got their powers from. And I'm like, I fucking believed him throughout that entire thing. I was like, yeah, do that movie. Damn it.
So listen, there's so you're absolutely right. We're absolutely scattered today, just because there's I don't know, our brains are just firing off and the good synapses today. I think we've had a good conversation. What I'll say is this: we definitely I want to know what you guys are watching too. So if there's something that needs to be on our streaming list, definitely please let us know,
or YouTube watch list.
Yeah, just tell us what we should be watching. What topics do you want to hear on the show? Well, I definitely want to make sure that you can go ahead and get your feedback in there.
Yeah, hit us up on Twitter at That Kind of Nerd. I mean, you can ping us individually. Obviously, I'm at jnubs572. We want to hear from you. We also we need you to get on iTunes, give us a rating and a review. Get on Stitcher. If you're an Android user, give us a rating and review. We want your feedback. If there's something that you want to hear or see, put that in there. But the best way you can support us right now is ratings and reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. And then obviously hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think. When you see our stuff on Facebook, share it out, comment on it. And, we really enjoy doing this, and we want more feedback so we can continue to improve.
All right, so thank you so much for making us your drive to work, your walk around the neighborhood. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support that you give us. I want to remind you guys to go to audibletrial.com/thatkindofnerd and get the pick of the week for your free audiobook and free 30-day trial with Audible. Again, that's audibletrial.com/thatkindofnerd, which again is just a fantastic way to support the site, help us to keep the content coming and make fantastic shows for you. So guys, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for listening.
I remember my first beer.
Or let's just do the podcast then with British accents, and maybe we'll get more. I was going to say maybe we get more people to listen.
And Laura's like, "What, is Brian like that?" I'm like, "At work, he was kind of like that," and I could see him sort of peeing his pants in this situation. So yeah,
2 minutes. Josh Filler, play me off.